can I say? What can I say?
Here is your host, Sean Demra.
Welcome back to another episode of the Fuse Show. Tonight is very special. It's business, very important business. We have to deal with. And we'll be talking with Ian Johnson and Mr. Burchmore Simon concerning the Music Network of Guyana. They'll be sharing a lot of details concerning the organization, everything you need to know. Whatever questions you might have, put it in the comment section, and I'll try to get to every question as best as I possibly can. But as usual, we like to kick this thing off with a music video. This one is by Lava Dan. More Money. Very nice song.
Every day with me, man. Me say that with me, man. More money, let's talk. Big boss, me not boast and brag. I mean, I want slow money, send me the cash fast. Feel like me just win the jackpot. Yeah, more money, let's talk. Big boss, me not boast and brag. I mean, I want slow money, send me the cash fast. Feel like me just win the jackpot. Yeah, money contact pass me the mobile. Me not have the time for sit and build no kyle. Me money fi enough like Guyana for aisle. Big company arise, Exxon Mobile. Face strings for the dollars, I know smile every talk boy watch me head of a 4-5. The food and I eat anytime I go live. I the song boy, I the 4-5 for the money. You want my money enough? Yeah, me want more money, let's talk. Big boss, me not boast and brag. I mean, I want slow money, send me the cash fast. Feel like me just win the jackpot. Yeah, more money, let's talk. Big boss, me not boast and brag. I mean, I want slow money, send me the cash fast. Feel like me just win the jackpot. Yeah, me and money, I feel up on one level. I forget it out 24/7. Sometime life it hard and no talk, but still I make it like that inevitable. Me I go for it hard, yo, me I forget my reward. Big car park up in a me yard, and me have 2 more in a garage. Money, every day with me, man. Money, me say that with me, man. Money enough, yeah, me want more money, let's talk. Big boss, me not boast and brag. I mean, I want slow money, send me the cash fast. Feel like me just win the jackpot. Yeah, more money, let's talk. Big boss, me not boast and brag. I mean, I want slow money, send me the cash fast. Feel like me just win the jackpot. Yeah, every day with me, man. Me say that with me, man. Every day with me, man. Me say that with me, man. Silence. Bang. Mutant man, yeah.
And that was Lava Dan. Pretty nice song. So we have tonight, and we're waiting on one more guest. But good night, everyone, and welcome back. All right. We have right now Mr. Ian Johnson. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great, Rock. It's a beautiful Thursday night, and I'm here to spread some good news. So I'm in my good news
Good.
era right now. You know, all around me is good news.
All right. All right. All right. So first things first. Um, tell the people who is Ian Johnson and how long you've been in the Guyana music culture and some of the things that you've done.
Well, I am. How would you put this? I'm from New Amsterdam, Barbies. I was born in Stanley Town, New Amsterdam. I'm the son of Megan and Clifford Johnson. I have 9 other siblings, so it's a very big family. My father did work overtime. We are all 1 year apart. 10 children is like bang, 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 bang,
Mm,
bang until the lad is over, right? So I'm basically from New Amsterdam. Um, my early days, then I went to school in Georgetown. Went to Charleston Secondary. Then went on to went back to New Amsterdam to go to Technical Institute. Then went to the University of Guyana, and during all these process, I was engaged in music in some form or the other. I am I've been around with um, in the early days of the band, the mischievous guys, the frontline band, the Mingle Song Machine, the Fusion Song System. I'm a technician by profession, so I was basically the guy that fixed
mhm,
everybody's stuff back in Guyana. Right, I was a fix it guy. My business back then was quick fix, so I was the guy fixing every stuff. Worked for almost everybody in the business back then, fixing equipment and installing sound systems, installing um, battery battery backup supplies to homes and them kind of stuff. Did electrical wiring because my base is basically electrical electronics. And during my stint in Guyana, I was involved in different levels in music on both sides of the fence. Basically, I am privileged to work on in the gospel arena and on the secular side of stuff simultaneously because that's what happened. So some of the guys on the gospel side, I am responsible in some way for at some point in time for doing something for them. The Ian Graves, the Kester Dean, the Clive Smith, the
mhm,
Miriam Bell. You just name the gospel artists. Once they over 25 years of age, at some point in time they would have had encountered something with Ian Johnson. I played a critical part in the '90s. I started a gospel band with some other guys. The band name was the R's. We had almost everything like a regular band. It was everything. Sound system. We hosted a big event at the Square of the Revolution, compliments of Bishop Juan El Gil. Then, we hosted Benson Adiozo then. Yes, that I think was 95, 96, sometime around then. And we
mhm,
had a big gospel band, full works. Ralph Hart and the whole the RS band, Rudy Prescott, Ralph Prescott, a whole bunch of people, Tyrone Thomas, a whole bunch of guys in the gospel arena back then. You know, Kester didn't now start spreading his wings back then. He wasn't as big as he is now, but he now starts showing out the colors and stuff back then. You know, Eddie Neblet was barely bubbling in the corner. Psycho Andrews were all bubbling in the corner. There was no big I think. Sammy probably been in Pampers them days too, so my background basically was on both sides of the fence with band. Like I said before, I was responsible for servicing the Mingus Song Machine. I was an engineer with Mingus Song Machine. I toured with Mingus Song Machine in 92, 93 in Canada and a few other in the US and a few places. Uh, Started my own recording studio in 1993. I want to say I was amongst the first to have a digital recording studio back then. Only other person that I think had stuff like that was Sean Bolo and this guy. Can't remember his name, but his title is Burnett. Probably somebody related to.
Carvin.
So so I started with a dynamic studio, and that was in Duncan Street, Campbellville, back in the early early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I think 93. Yeah. Um, I was the first to record a whole bunch of people on CD. I was responsible for Ian Graves' first CD. Um, what is the sound of the album name? The Plan. Yeah, a CD that now bursting into the market, and I was the executive producer on that project. I went on to record most of the Guyanese artists back then, the Major Joby, the Troy C's, the whatever name they had around then, Major Joby, Troy C, Coffee Ranks, and a whole bunch of other names that were the elites in the gospel arena back then. I did two
Mm-hmm.
volumes on CD. I did the Reggae Mania Volume 1 and Volume 2, and then I did a album with Coffee named Body Slam. Then I
Mm-hmm.
recorded the Nazarene Choir on CD. I recorded this guy named Oscar Kilkenny, Sweet Sax, put his music as instrumental music on CD, and a few other projects. I was responsible for also recording stuff from LCD band back then. There was John Ali. Everybody know the Sugar Cake Girls. You know this song, the Stupidity, and your Pagale. All those songs recorded by me. Canal Gal and all those songs. I did a lot of work in the beginning of when I started the studio production. But then the studio production were suffocated. You had all this great music, but it still wasn't playing on the radio. So I took a deviation from actual production. I left the studio with a couple other people who used to be doing stuff like Joel Chan, um, Ralph Prescott, Wade Cuddy Moore, and a whole bunch of other people. They continued the production, but I went into advertising the music on radio. So I teamed up with my good friend till until today. His name is Perry Farina. We call him the East Coast Bengal, and we started What's Hot Guyana somewhere around 1994, 95. And we started doing videos on the then popular station was Vero Channel 28. So we used to do pre-production. We recorded at Cathy Hughes video studio, spending lots of money just to get this stuff together and to put it out every Saturday. Um, we were successful in getting some level of sponsorship, so the weight of the coming out of your pocket wasn't that heavy, and we did have those production going on a Saturday live on Channel 28, and still it wasn't enough exposure because that program was like once every like fortnight. It wasn't weekly. It was like a fortnight kind of program. We did it um, every 2 weeks, and then we decided we gonna go to radio. So we went to the government radio. Went to 98.1. That wasn't 98.1 then. I believe it was either radio Voice of Guyana or Radio Demerara. I don't know which one it eventually turned into 98.1, but we started on radio. It was the East Coast Bengal and Mr. Dynamics. We were 4 hours on radio from 8 to midnight. So people say, no, you can't play Guyanese music for 4 hours. It's not going to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
We had the hottest stuff happening. I mean, this is in the late 90s we're talking about here. We've been playing Guyanese music for 4 hours, Friday nights from 8 to midnight, you know. And then when the spot get real popular and nice and everybody listening to night radio, because we were subsidized, other companies came out and wanted the spot. So we get kicked off the spot because we weren't paying full price. So they kick me off the spot, put
Mm-hmm.
our course and change me to another night, bring it to Tuesday night, 8 to midnight. We made Tuesday night popular. They kick me off for Tuesday night, put me to Saturday morning from 8 to 10, we made Saturday mornings popular, just doing Guyanese music. It was a refreshing experience. We had um, a lot of things happening. We had, um, like I said, but two programs a week on radio. Then we had programs on television. We were spending like about almost $300,000 a month in advertising Guyanese music on radio and television,
Mhm.
paying for sponsorship and out of pocket. So, with all that said, see, that's one of the reasons why sometimes I argue with a kind of venom because I know I paid dearly for Guyanese music to be heard. We were paying a Guyana radio station to play Guyanese music on the station that they should have been um, playing. So, but we end up purchasing time to play Guyanese music.
Mhm.
Even though we were given what do you call it, a reduction rate, I still felt back then that it should have been a free program
Mhm.
because outside of that there were very few other persons playing Guyanese music back then. You had Clem David, you had Pancho Kuru, you had Rudy Grant, and a few other players. There was no Malachi around then. There was no Malcolm Ferrero back in then. You had Rocky Kuru and a couple other people who was around then. They were affording us the privilege of playing some Guyanese music. Bertie Chancellor, there's a names to call. Those are the people who were diehard, people who were, whenever they had the opportunity to go on radio, they would play Guyanese music. So I just want to say, God rest the dead. Bertie Chancellor is no longer around. Clem David is no longer around. Pancho Crew is no longer around. Rudy Grant is still standing strong. Big up to Rudy Grant. Those are some of the people who stood the ground and supported the Guyanese Music Trust. Uh, what else should I say? Am I giving too much information
No,
here?
no, no, no. The reason why I ask for this information is because I want people to understand your background, so it can connect the dot when we really start to go into the meat of the discussion. So I'm just asking for the people that's on that might think that it's being drawn out, but it's
Okay.
for a reason, and it's just is necessary. Is necessary. And as we wait on Mr. Birchmore, I think he's having some issues getting connected. Um, when at what point you guys got to the concerts with Adrian and them?
Well, that was
Briefly,
early.
probably like we could talk about for about 2 minutes, and then we're gonna go into the so.
That was early 2000, the early 2000s. Asian and them started um, around the early 2000. Let's say 2003, 2004. You know, I think Adrian won the Soca Monarch 2005 for the first time. Right. So, and it's around that same time when Adrian had the 2000 and when he won the Soca Monarch. Then we had songs like um, TikTok and Crazy and Throw Your Hands Up. All those songs came out in that era. I was working pretty close with Cross Colors because remember then I had one of the main programs on radio and television. So I was on radio and I was on television. So I took the promotion of almost everybody with Guyanese music under my wings back then. Even though I had artists that worked with me, but my operation back then was more general. I was working with all the top people back in those days. So I would
Mhm.
work with George, and in 2000 and yes, in 2005 we did. That was the second What's Hot Ghana show. We did it at the Culture Center, where we filled the Culture Center to capacity, front to back. You know, the same year, Birchmore did the Cross School show, where we filled the sports hall from front to back. I think I played some of those clips before on
Mhm.
Power Slam, where we had people screaming and shouting and hollering for Jumbo. Those kids knew everybody's song word for word, and it was a great celebration. So um, I don't know, but for some reason or the other, things just went wrong, and that connection that we had with the young people and the pop, I was it said the populace back then. Um, we got disconnected for some reason. The school show got sidelined because it was. I felt then that the politicians felt that there's too much power in the hands of musicians, because we had young people screaming and hollering for Adrian and Jomo and all the other artists. And Shelly G that just bursting out of them, Big Red, Lil Man. Who else they had from then? They had, I think Vanilla didn't start singing as yet, but they had a whole bunch of people from all the cross colors also. That were thing had this guy Sidney Chester, Bali's, and all them names. Those were the names back in those days. If you had a concert and you didn't invite them, you couldn't get a concert. So those are the people that were in the environment, that was energizing the environment. And then 2006 was one of the greatest years in Guyanese music, I would say. We had Corin Ballers and the entertainers recording in my studio and stuff, and we put out songs like when everybody bump around
Mhm.
there's Corin Ballers and his team, and we had another great show at the Tourist Park compliments of Banks DH, because they had sponsored the show to give. They had made a commitment to us after they saw what we did at the Culture Center to give us the Tourist Park the following year, so we could do the What's Hot Guyana in Tourist Park. I'll be sold out the place again. Had over 6,000 people in Tourist Park. People came out to see Guyanese artists. The biggest name artist that we had on that platform was Forrest Barn, and I don't think Jomo was available. I think Adrian was available. Times Two didn't perform, but I think Jomo was with Byron Lee and the Dragonaires or somebody back then, and he wasn't available for that show. But Adrian was one of the big stars then. So the biggest star we had was Adrian and Fort Warren, and a couple other people was now coming on the scene. The Shelly G's, the Mark
Mhm.
Watsons, and all them are now coming out on the scene back then.
So, Mr. Burchmore Simon, thank you for joining us, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Awesome. Just briefly, about 2 minutes or so, just let the people know who is Burchmore Simon, and some of the things that you've been doing in the Guyana music culture.
Okay, well, I started in music at the age of 6.
Mm.
I was a really troublesome youngster, always banging on tin cans, filling bottles with water, and trying to play songs and stuff. And
Mm.
after my grandmother saw that, she decided to send me to piano lessons. And I've done nothing else but music all my life. Not,
Mm.
I've studied music. I perform music in a band. I produce music. I love teaching. So I've done all aspects of music. And here I am today. I've been producing music under the Cross Color banner. That is my label. I also do publishing. As I said, I still teach. I love teaching.
Mhm.
And I've been contributing to music in a very big way. For example, every mash for the past 7 years, I've been producing between 15 and 18 songs every single year for the season.
Mm.
And so much that our records of wins is, as the youngsters say, off the chain. We've had 74 first places in competitions and so on
Wow.
over the years, and for a total of 104 top 4 positions in competitions. And that can tell you how much work we have been doing.
Yeah.
I've worked with some of the greatest people in the industry: Ian Johnson, Wally Fraser, Jomo Primo, Adrian Dutchin, you name them. We have worked. I've worked with them over the years. I'm happy to be doing so. And at my age, it makes no sense for me to carry all the knowledge that I have with me.
That's right.
Hence, we're starting the network.
Mhm.
The network is a brainchild of mine for a number of years. Um, right off the bat, I can tell you, my intention is not to earn money from the network.
Mhm.
My intention is to volunteer my services to the establishment of the network, so we can have a concrete framework for people like you and the other youths to build on and to run with. So in a nutshell, that's who I am.
Awesome. So you pretty much touched on a part of the question I'm going to ask. Um, what is the Music Network of Guyana, and what is the mission and the core values that you guys have in place, Mr. Birch?
Okay, so the network is a business support organization, right? And it will act as a facilitator and a mediator for practitioners in the industry. Its main focus is to galvanize all the elements that we have of the industry. We have recording studios, we have promoters, we have venues, we have festivals, we have recording studios, we have managers, we have artists, we have all the elements of a music industry. What we are missing is that focal point for the industry where it all meets together. For example, you have a lawn tennis association that works for the tennis players throughout Guyana.
Hmm.
We have the teachers union. So everything has a representative body that can speak for them, right? The value proposition is that if we can strengthen the industry, if we can align all the ducks in a row, and we as practitioners in the industry can take advantage of what is being done, we're adding value to each other. Whether you're an artist, whether you're a manager, we will have more strength. We are putting the numbers together under one roof. And this is not that we're going to be running anybody's business or we're doing publishing or booking artists. We're doing none of that. What we are doing is to knit all the pieces of the industry together. So there's a seamless flow of progress from start to end. Right now, we don't have that. We have a lot of moving parts.
Hmm.
We have the Dem Rock Music Awards. We have Power Jam. We have all the radio stations, all the promoters, but we're just separated. We have not managed over the years to capture everything under one umbrella. And so there's a seamless interdependence of people and things so that we can all benefit more from the industry.
All right. Um, well said, for South. Do we have a history of any other government approved music organization like this?
Well, I wouldn't even say that this one is government approved, This is just a venture that private people like me, you, Ian, all the performers are trying to put together to build an industry, right? Governments come in at the legislative part, right? Or if we need to have duty-free concessions for equipment,
Hmm.
that's where government would come in terms of legislation, fixing the copyright laws, making them more modern. That is where you have the entry of government. But governments are not in the habit of forming organizations for us. We are the practitioners.
Hmm.
We are involved. We have the knowledge of the industry. We are the people who have to galvanize ourselves, organize our industry properly, and then we can seek the intervention of the government when it's necessary, right? So this all depends on us. It is our industry. We have to make it work. And we can have the government, the various arms of government as partners to ensure that we progress and we build on what we have.
All right. Um, Ian, um, how strong is your feeling towards now to get this organization going? Two
Look,
minutes.
I we have been working on this situation for quite a long time. I have been in and out of the in and out of the connection with the working of what's happening here with Borch. But as Borch said, it's his brainchild. He's been on this for a very long line. This is about 20 years or so. We have been in and out. I've been in and out. I've been supportive of this initiative with Borch. A matter of fact, if it was up to me, we would have started this like 3 years ago. I was behind Borch for us to start this thing now. But Borch didn't want to start nothing until the organization was actually registered as a legal body in Guyana. So that's hence is why we're here at this juncture right now, because that has been accomplished. It was a trial and journey. I only know part of the story. Borch know the story. He took this whole project on his back. I was there. I was here. I was there, putting my finger, giving you a little support. Now, just
Mhm.
one hand and stuff as we go along the way. But my take on this whole situation is that we have worked to a point where we are in a position that we can organize all the creative elements of this music industry for Guyana, so we can have progress and success. Saying that, over the years, I have individually, as a solo person, have been helping a whole bunch of people as one individual. I can do so much as one person because I could only answer the phone until I deal with one person at a time. Having an organization with different elements and different functioning, I'm able to be instrumental in helping much more people than I normally do on a regular basis. And thirdly, you know, I like Borch. I might just look little cute for my age, but I carrying some good numbers right now. So I can't guarantee you that tomorrow's here. If tomorrow's a blessing for me, so what I would like to do is able to share this little brain that I have here with as much people as I can, get as much done. So when I pass on from this stage, I could have said to myself, if I have the chance to do that, I don't know what's happening when you're gone, but if I have a chance to say, I could have said, hey, I have done my part, and even if it didn't happen, I could have still said I tried hard, but as circumstances be, it didn't happen. But to me, I think we are the best place at the best juncture in the time for this to happen.
Mr. Birch, say a question. How strong do you feel that now is the time?
I feel very, very strong. Even the body language of our people on these live programs for the past 3 months has not been confrontational, really. I have observed, and pleasingly so, people encouraging creativity, encouraging camaraderie. The bashing has stopped. I have not, and I'm hearing so much intelligent conversation, which is where we want to be.
That's right.
This is where we want to be. Like I have to mention, I heard Fojo and the guy from Linden. I think it's
Timon
Timon.
Fraser. Timon
I
Fraser.
mean, excellent conversation.
Awesome.
Those guys touched on some potent points, which motivated me to say that we need a music producers association, because they brought out some very, very important points. And the only way we can take advantage of those points is if we form a body of producers and we can make uniform decisions that will enhance what we do and enhance the people that we work for or we work with. Other than that, I have been getting a lot of calls from people to really restart this effort.
Mhm.
I mean, like the youngest in the industry to Ezzy Rockcliffe from Yoruba Singers. He came and he said, Burchmore, I know you've been through some stuff with the first time you made the effort, but we want it. And so telephone calls from people, Sean Bola, Ian has been behind me for a long time. People are asking, they really need it. And I think it's the ideal time, even where Guyana is as a country economically.
Mhm.
I think things will get better. There are more hotels coming into the industry. Those hotels would need to be serviced by musicians and performers. serviced by the creative industry practitioners generally. And so we can only take advantage of that if we are organized, if the wheels of the music industry are turning for the benefit of each and every person, right? And I don't think people realize the direction we want to go. But if we can get everything lined up properly, if we can get all our committees set up, your musicians union, producers association, songwriters association, when the international music industry people see you going down that road, the only option they have is to be a part of it.
That's
I
right.
can tell you, the more we are organized, the more benefits all our members would derive from the organization. And I mentioned last week that the organization, we have a lot of assets that if we leverage those assets, we can benefit more. I mean, we have a lot of online radio stations, right? We have your award show. We have so many studios and so on, that if we organize all those assets,
That's
if,
right.
for example, your award show, if we can support it more, direct more corporate sponsors to your award show, it means that what you are doing would not be in vain, and you would grow because you're getting the support.
Sport.
If the 380 musicians that we have could follow you on social media, could like everything you do, there is strength in numbers.
True.
And those following three something, I can encourage 10 of my family members to do likewise. It
Yep.
becomes 3,000, right? And so the whole object of the network is that type of growth, vertical, vertical as well as horizontal growth. That is what we're trying to encourage. Because if we have a business directory, it means every person's business is being advertised, right? There is more power behind the business. And even, for example, let's say one of our colleagues, Mark Batson, he has his wash bay. If all of us with cars go there to wash our cars, we're empowering Mark. And so by extension, we can grow. Once we can work together, this thing is easy.
True. True. And it's just so funny every time my next question come up, you touching on those a little bit on it. When it comes to the committee,
Mhm.
how many committees are you guys having, do you guys have in place, and how many members you guys looking to fill those spots?
Okay, on paper, we have 10 committees. I doubt whether we can implement all of those at one time. And I can I can go through the names. I have tried to identify committees that are industry oriented and can benefit our members. So there is licensing and rights, marketing and promotion, education and outreach, technology and innovation, diversity and inclusion. And that's a very, very important one for Guyana.
Mhm.
Extremely important because we know the dynamics.
Yes.
So it's diversity and inclusion, legal and regulatory, finance and budget, artist development, streaming and distribution, health and wellness. I have tried to cover all aspects of the industry because people's health and wellness is very important, because so many musicians in Guyana have died under very, very, very sad circumstances. There is nothing in place for our seasoned musicians who have retired. You know, we have just put them out to pasture.
Hmm.
There are no benefits, right? There is nothing in place to utilize them even as teachers or as mentors. right? There is no provision to give them a stipend when the month comes, right? And these things make me kind of very sad because I am heading there. If you understand what I mean,
Mhm.
it's a frightening possibility, right? To know that so many people have worked so hard, right? Lucky for people like me and Ian, the world has changed. So we have been able to adapt in other places to ensure that we can still have a bright future, regardless of how short it is. But we need to establish these committees. And if it's 10 committees and it's about 5 people on each committee, that is 50 persons, right? So then you can see the numbers already.
Mhm.
So if we start, or if we select 4 of them to start off with to ensure that they're established, we can always move on to the rest as we go. But the general concept, my brother, is for us to work together to bring all these things in line, right? So that we can get the buy-in from government and all the different ministries. We can get buy-in from people like Caribbean Development Bank or Creative Caribbean or WIPO or any one of those international organizations. They will only come in if we have the infrastructure in place, right?
Mhm.
And they have the knowledge, they have the finance to get us to where we want to go.
What are some of before I go to that question, what are the plans you guys have in terms of having a chapter in Guyana and a chapter in other parts of the world? You guys have plans on doing that?
Definitely, definitely. And our first chapter that we want to establish is in the US because there's been a lot of exchange things between the musicians in Guyana and US and Guyana, vice versa. And I think our largest diaspora in terms of numbers would be in the US.
Mhm.
And we cannot exactly mirror what is happening in Guyana because the dynamics in America is would be slightly different, right? So we would have to adapt. But mainly, for example, if a musician were to go to the US and he contacts the chapter over there, they can ensure that his business arrangements are all in order. The US chapter can ensure that things like work permits are in place. We can start processing those for our members and that type of thing. So having a chapter around the world is very, very, very important because the more we can spread this, the stronger we will become.
And not to add to that too, we have lots of persons have migrated from Guyana who was in our fight, who was with us
Yeah.
on the ground battling. People like Blondie, a lot of people who Small Man, who is Canada. They are positioned in other parts. We have people in France who was in this whole journey trying to get things together, and they all want to be part of what's happening. And that was going to open up doors for artist movement from Guyana to all these other parts, and from these other parts back to Guyana, because everybody out of Guyana want to come back to Guyana, and everybody in Guyana want to go to some other place, some other place, some other where. So what I'm saying is that ideally, this whole having different chapters around the place will work for us. And like Bert said, the ease at which we can have things happening where one person looking out for you on the ground. When promotion happened, you did the them rock awards. You were in Atlanta. A lot. The award was in New York. It was important for you to have people on the ground on New York to do some stuff before you got here, and that's something similar like what's going to be happening with the different chapters where um, we share the common goal. The policies that some of the policies where it's not going to conflict with the governments of the country that the person is located in. We will all stick to the framework once there is no controversy. That's why we need lawyers on board with us who can firmly understand some of the terrains that we can be working in and we will fashion every chapter to not only suit the benefits for the folks in Guyana, but also to meet the requirements of the country that we're operating from.
Mr. Birch and Mr. Johnson. Um, as an artist, we have some artists that's on, and some will be looking at this at a later time. What are the benefits for each artist? And again, just now you touched on a part of this, the question that I'm asking here as well. So I'll just ask you to repeat some of it. What are the benefits that an artist would say, hey, I like this? Like, what
Mhm.
are the assurance that they will be taken care of from A to Z, regardless of where they may go, Guyana or New York? Do you guys have, like, I know you guys have a plan, but are you guys confident in those plans for our artists moving forward?
In,
Let me get in before Borch thing.
okay.
I want to tell you right now that individually, right, without this organization, myself and Borch has been helping a whole bunch of people. Like I said before, I'm only one person with a pair of ears, but if I'm going to use a phone or if I'm going to give you my attention, I can only help an individual, one person at a time. And I've been helping people in New York, different parts of the world, because my phone ring all the time. People keep calling, asking for information. Because one of the things that we understand is that the business of music is not very strong. It's not a very strong commodity in the Guyanese circle. Not much people understand the business of music. So when they attempt to do something, they try to find information, and they would call somebody else who would say, "Okay, that guy did help me." Oh, just recently, I wanted to get a song. And I'm just saying how this how stuff works. I wanted to get a song. Artist is doing a song right now, cover song, and I wanted to get the song legally registered so that we wouldn't have any violations, because we can't want to start an organization and the first thing that the people in the organization do is violating all the rules of music. So I called Borch and said, "Hey, I need to get these songs, this song, at least permission to use the song, and also permission to distribute the song on my distribution network." And Bert was able to give me that information. I was able to engage with the people, and I got the permissions. Now I'm saying there might be so many other people who want to have this same position. There's so many people who think other people cover songs, get it on YouTube, get it all over the place, but they can't claim anything from it. We were able to get some sorts of satisfaction from doing the production. We wouldn't own the whole publishing of the stuff, but we have things that it was flexible for us to look into. You know, we could get some monetization from the stuff that we were doing. We get a percentage of the sale and everything. Um, those are information that lots of people would want to have to know how to do it. Now, all this stuff that we have been doing before individually, right? And there's vast number of stuff. All this can be available to the people who join in this network. Now, your problem, it would not be your problem at all. Your problem becomes the network problem, and we would have put systems in place to actually deal with some of this the standard and normal problems that will pop up. We will have some unique ones, and when it comes up, if it's necessary to make it a stable something that we can look into permanently, we will develop systems that would address all the other new stuff that coming along the way. Things like registration for artists. People are having We've been having problems like this in the industry where where producers are claiming that other producers are taking the song, taking the rhythm, and building it over and putting out music before them. You know, those are stuff that we will have to deal with as a body. I mean, individually, we would have spoken to some of the people who are involved in the situation, but we would try to make something standardized so that there's a process that you go through. We would even put a licensing department in place where if somebody looking to use somebody else's song in this network, they can go to the licensing department and we will make the request to the person. We will set up everything inside of this body so that using somebody else's song will not be an issue. And by extension, we will do the same thing for international songs and songs from other regions. So there's lots of benefits, like you asked, or some of the benefits is that the struggle that every artist would have trying to figure out stuff on their own will not be a process that they have to do by themselves. You
Yeah.
have the vast knowledge of all the people in the network, resourceful people in the network, including lawyers and people with understanding of the music business and publishing and copywritings and PRO. All those persons we have available at our fingertips in this network. We have people who have already made intentions to sign on the network who have these abilities. So to answer your question, when you as an artist you join in this music fraternity, all your deficiency will be dealt with by somebody qualified in this organization that can guide you and put you along the right path.
Mr. Birch.
All right, Sean. So the what I want people to keep at the back of their head is that this organization is to help improve the situation as it is, to bring some semblance of order to it, and to create a more egalitarian or equal playing field for everyone. And so, to reference your question in answering it, let me go back to some of the committees you're establishing
Mhm.
and what they will do. So, for example, licensing and rights committee. That committee will be responsible for managing licensing agreements, copyrights, and ensuring proper compensation for artists and rights holders. There you go. Right now,
Mhm.
there is nothing like that.
Mhm.
Right? So, what we will do, we have this committee and we will come up with policies and guidelines on how you do licensing, what your benefits are, step by step, just like how I was able to advise Ian. That advice would be available to everyone as part of the network, right? Let's go to marketing and promotion committee. They will focus on strategies to promote artists, albums, and events, including online and offline marketing campaigns. So we would be aligned to people who are aware of what a campaign should be. They would be there to give you advice on a step by step on how you go promoting your album. Because the whole aim of this network is how people would maximize their efforts. And let me point this out. This here is just us giving you the advice, you and your handlers. They will have to embark on the business side of things for their benefit. Remember, we are not dictating what you do. We are only advising you. We are not taking over your publishing or your marketing or whatever. But the system is set in place so that the guidelines are there for you to follow and to get the advice. For example, education and outreach. They will develop programs to educate aspiring musicians, industry professionals, and the public about the music industry, copyright laws, and best practices. And for this now, we can have our overseas partners come in to run workshops and that type of thing. Remember, the network is a facilitating organization. It's a business support organization, and it's designed to support people so that they could benefit. For example, when we go to Artist Development Committee, it supports emerging artists with mentorship programs, performance opportunities, and resources to advance their careers. So those are just a few of how we will work and how artists can benefit from the network. That is how you benefit. So we give you tools, improved tools to go out there and conquer the world.
All right. You guys have a lot of things on the agenda that is pressing, but I'll touch on one for now. What plans do you guys have in approaching the radio stations for the artists?
Okay. So I touched on this the last time, right? Some people feel that radio is not important. I disagree totally, because a simple fact is that all the artists that comes to Guyana, they are popular on radio. Burna Boy is coming and they play his music every single day, minus the radio, and tell me what will happen.
Hmm.
People argue that radio is not vital, but I beg to disagree. Let us take all music off of radio and just talk. Every station, just talk every day.
Hmm.
Don't play, don't advertise, right? Radio is extremely important. So what we plan to do is to create partnerships with the radio stations, with production managers, and with DJs. We have had a very antagonistic relationship over the years, in that we beat the radio stations on their heads
And the
and,
DJ.
and the DJs, and we blame them for everything. I beg to differ in terms of approach. I think we should ask the question of the radio stations: what do you want from us to be able to play our music? Do you think you need better quality? You need better lyrics? What do you want? Right? When we know what our requirements are, we can move to fulfill those requirements. It therefore means that we will have to visit every radio station. We will have to speak with every program manager or every director. We would have to meet with the DJs. We'd have to have a pool of DJs, right? We have to embrace partnership rather than animosity. Animosity is not going to get us where we want to go, right? During 2005, 2006, radio and television played a pivotal role, and Ian can attest to this, a pivotal role in getting Guyanese music and artists to where it was, right? So our plan is to meet with every single radio station in Guyana, have a meeting with them, find out what their requirements are and what we can do to make the establishing of a partnership easier.
What would be a fair percentage of our artist music you think should be played on the radio? So I'll have Mr. Birch answer, and then Ian, you're gonna touch on that part.
This is a very touchy subject, but in my humble opinion, and you have a calculator there, I want you to do some calculations. Ian, you have one?
Well, I always had this number in my head.
Let,
I said,
let,
I don't
let,
know.
All right,
let
hold on.
Mr. Birch let you
All right.
answer first, and then
So I am proposing 15%. It means that every hour, at least 2 Guyanese songs will play, right? So I think we have 17 radio stations, right? So 17 by 2, every hour, 34 Guyanese songs playing, right? And in an 8-hour day, 34 by 8, calculate that for me. That's how much? 32, 142?
times 8, 250. Is it 32 times 8? 256.
256, right?
Mm-hmm.
By a week, by 7.
Mm-hmm. Times 7,
And then,
1,792.
and then times 4, that's a month.
7,000 plus.
In your humblest opinion, do we have the capacity even to fulfill that basic? I thought that's a basic minimum. I did that to show the people who are saying 100%, 50%, how difficult that would be. And that's why I'm saying if we start with 15, we can garner popularity. We can build our artists with steady rotation on radio and television, right? It means that our sales would increase. We get more bookings. And my proposal would be that every year for the next 3 years, we increase that by 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So by 20, 27, we're up 30%. In that time, we are building capacity to produce more. Quality would improve even more than it is.
That
More
is.
artists would be booked. More artists would be empowered. More value to the artists and producers and managers and so on. So that would be my approach. 15% now and 5% added over the next 3 years. Because right now I don't think we have the capacity to handle more airtime than that. That's just my opinion.
Before you answer, Mr. Johnson, do we have anything in place, legally, of a percentage that should be played?
No.
We
In
don't.
our negotiations with the radio stations and so on, that will be a subject.
And the government have to implement such.
Well, I would not move the government so quickly.
Okay, so is basically the relationship between the organization and the radio
And the
station.
radio
Let's
station.
try to get this thing figured
Precisely.
out than to go on the
Right.
legal side of it
But you asked a
with the
good
government.
question. You asked a very good question. If we were to get the government involved, my recommendation would be this. We start with the same 15%. But what the government can do is offer a reduction in the licensing fee, right?
Mm,
In exchange. Yeah, I mean, people might criticize and say the government can do what they like, but I don't see it that way. I am saying, okay, the government is saying we want to work with our musicians and our creative people. Here's what we will do. We would require the radio stations to play 15% Guyanese music. And in exchange, we will reduce the licensing fee, whatever, right? And the network now will try to encourage companies and so on to advertise and build up those radio stations. You understand? If this radio station want to do a fundraising thing, we can encourage some of our artists to go perform. That kind of exchange.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I am with Borch's number, the 15%, but just also to note that on a given day, the 300 and the 200 and something songs that's going to be played in the 8 hour period, it will not be actually 200 and something songs. You might have songs that might repeat over the period, and let's just say,
Yeah.
for proper promotional purposes, those songs are repeated 5 times. If you divide the number by 5, this is the kind of number that
Sure.
you possibly can get. Because to really get something marinated into an environment, it has to be repetitive. So that 7,000 will end up probably close to like 15, 16, 1,700 songs that are going to be played, and that is still a lot of songs to be played in a month. You got to understand, we want to replace a regular appetite to the people with something. We can't replace it with something that they don't want, because we have the situation where really become competitive. Everybody want to market there. There's so much. Let's just say in the pie in Guyana is $100,000, right? And all 20 radio stations are working towards getting this 100,000 that is being spent every month. So now I have to make sure that my content is so attractive that the people will want to bring the advertising to me. So still again, it's only the people with proper songs are going to be played. Now, somebody did ask if we are going to dictate the 15% that is going to be played, and I thought that's impossible.
No.
We're not here to dictate anybody's business. We're not here to tell the radio station how to run the station.
Yeah.
That 50% will be based on the quality of the music, what type of program the person have, and how convenient is the song is going to fit in, how the DJ is the mastery of the DJ anyway, how they're going to fit the stuff in to make it work.
Yeah.
So that's not our responsibility. You might be a subscription pay member for the organization, and you might decide that, okay, because you're paying the subscription, you're entitled to some kind of assurance that your song is going to be played. The only assurance you have that your song will play is that your song have to meet the requirement of the people who want to play it. Because I'm not playing it, Borch's not playing it.
Yeah.
But if it's a song that whets the appetite of the DJ or somebody in the station who just like a song, hey, I want to hear that song, and the request of the people. See, the people play is not a very important role, because why is I went through with the drought in Guyana during the time when I was taken off of radio. I was on radio, but I got off of radio because I couldn't afford radio anymore, because the government had changed and they took away all the subsidies. So instead of paying, let's just say you pay 100,000, you don't have to pay $400,000 on the radio, right? So I took my $100,000 to television. So I went to Channel 9. So I did a radio program on the TV station because I didn't have cameras. Remember, this is a real. I don't want to. I don't
Mhm.
want to express it this way, but it's a real pocket production because we are young people without, you're hustling and get no money. You have to use the resources of the TV station. So I had implemented a DJ. Andre Stone Love used to be with me on the set every time I go on television. So basically, I had a radio program running on a television station. Then I started to introduce live performances on the station, and that changed the dimension of the whole stuff. Because then my 2 hours and 3 hours when on the television station was basically live performances by various artists, which was one of the building blocks of the Guyanese music back then. People like Borch with the radio show used to come and take over my program. Hits and Jams used to come and take over my program every time they have Jam Zone. You know, so we had um, a good market share for the environment on Channel 9. With this, I just want to say, if nobody else never said, Channel 9 need to be given a medal for their contribution to the development of Guyanese music.
Mhm.
That's HBTV Channel 9.
Before you go, Sean, one
Mhm.
point. Ian made a very, very, very important point. We are not here to dictate what music will be played. We are not here to dictate anything for anybody. People should understand we are trying to put the framework and the policies in place for you to take advantage of. We are not going to tell a radio station which song to play. We are not
Mhm.
going to do that. The radio stations and the DJs will decide what they will play. But we will create the environment to make those moves easier for our members.
And also raise the bar in terms of standards, because if
Yeah.
the radio station fit is what they're looking for in terms of songs, then we have to make sure that the songs are edited for radio production, especially for Guyana. Guyana radio requirements are tougher than any other part of the world. I think the saints live in Guyana. Guyana doesn't have any person that sins. The radio station circle in Guyana is basically holy than Jesus. So the requirements to get onto the Guyana radio, you can't say, oh, even though folk songs get banned from the radio station. How, I mean, this is not things that you want to talk on this kind of forum, but it's gone to the level where folk songs that would normally have the level of shades in it are banned from the radio station, where that's our culture. You can't take away folk songs, song called Likini Love. Okay, you say, okay, there's women abuse, so the song get banned from the radio because it get abusive stuff inside of it. But still the same set of people making them rules still going on beat up the wife and thing. But
Mhm.
anyway, they're not me for judge the situation. But I'm just saying that when we get the requirements from the radio stations or from the program directors and stuff, or whoever it is that controls the music, we'll ensure that the studios that are involved with the production of the music make sure they have a version that could be played on the Guyana radio station.
All right, so let's shift gear a little bit. Scenario: artists perform at an event, and the promoter is, holding back payment or performance fee for that particular art for that artist. Would that artist be able to come to the organization and say, "Hey, this is the situation that's happening. Would you guys get involved in fixing or rectifying a situation like that, Mr. Birch?"
First thing, because of our educational approach, producers and managers will know that you have to have a contractual arrangement with the promoter. Now, we can go to the extreme. We can ask for 50% upfront and the other 50 before the artists go on the stage. We can make that a standard approach through the network, how we deal with promoters. And in that scenario, it means that the artists will be paid in full before they go on stage. So it's 50% upfront and 50% once you are at the venue and you're ready to perform, right? The other scenario is if that a promoter refuses to pay. Remember, we already have lawyers on our board of directors, right? So that system would be engaged automatically, right? Because we have to stand up for our members. We have to stand up for them, right? But my advised scenario would be 50% upfront and 50% before the artist goes on stage. Because sometimes the promoters, they pay the generator man all this money up front. Sometimes they buy the drinks, this Ciroc and all of that, all the money up front, right? Sometimes they're paying the main imported act all their money up front, right? And therefore, whatever we do to raise the standard would means that we are adding value to our people, and therefore we can in turn make the demands. If our standards remain low and we are not adding value to our people, making demands become more difficult. So I would suggest that all the programs that we will have in place, that people make use of those programs, add value to themselves. Therefore, when you're negotiating, it becomes a lot easier and you can get what you want.
So before you answer, Ian, is that scenario, is that um issues that we have at the moment?
Yes, it has been reduced now, right? But those are things that that happened in the past.
Even with contract in place.
Well, I'm not sure, because remember, I am not in a position to know how each person does their business, right? With a network, once you sign on, we will know that you have the knowledge, and we expect you to adapt the
Proper steps.
standards,
Yes.
right? But for now, I am not sure how people conduct their business. But I know that sometimes there are problems, but those problems have been reduced now. Yes.
Go ahead, Ian.
Okay. I was just about to tell you I ain't taking no shut up right now. So don't tell me hold on and wait, because I'm not the kind of guy that like to wait. Now, one of the things that's been happening over the years, because we don't have a standard format for support when it comes to the artists and the different promotional groups and artist management. So here was the scenario that happened in Guyana right now and in the past. All different groups undercut the other group. So you have these rules in place because they would normally pay the foreign artists, because I've been in plenty of promotions with big people in Guyana, even some of the government shows. The artists them sometimes you got a government show, the artists taking long for come on, 2 hours they waiting. Is the money going to have search for trying to pay the artists before they come on stage? So the artists get paid before they come on stage, but the Guyanese artists that are there wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 months before they could get paid. And some of them, I talk about from government offices that hire them, the same set of people who pay the foreigners them right away, but get the other Guyanese artists string out. And why they have them string out? And I'll give you a reason why. Because the regular action in Guyana is people that undercut each other. So I'm gonna go, because when I was working in Guyana with the artists that I work with, I used to get paid up front because me mountain easy. I cut some hurry right to hurry. I don't care what portfolio you had. I telling you off, and I gotta get my money. So, but they're gonna say, okay, no matter how you're on there, we can come here and we can wait for the money. So they come and they break the system. So once the system know that they could always rely on this set of people oh, we don't go here because they don't want the money right away. We go over here. And not only are they coming over here, they're coming over here at a ridiculous price too. So one of the things that this network can try to do, we can try to standardize pricing for different tiers of artists. Because right now, it's look like everybody under one umbrella. Either working for 50,000 or 150. And don't care how big you're big or small you're small. There's the window to put you in, you know. And that's some of the things that are going to change. We're gonna work for different tiers of artists to get a different spectrum of selection. You could go between 5 to 300,000 to $1 million, depending on if the people want to pay going to pay that for you. But we're gonna try to see how much we could do the undercutting, because one of the reasons why we're in this state right now, because the very same people who complaining right now are the same violators who went and cut side deals with people for ridiculously less money, right? And promise to wait. Whenever you decide you want to pay me, you could pay me. So that becomes the norm in the environment right now. The Guyanese artists start looking hungry because, okay, you always got to look like if you're begging for your stuff. I mean, you finish working, you know, Mash finished, and some of the people still say right now that they ain't get paid for Mash, and Mash done gone already, you know. So everybody else who came from Mash done gone and probably buy a house, buy a new car, or change the color of the house because they get paid and they're going to buy the paint. Chinese artists still waiting to be paid. No. So that's my take.
Funding. How are you guys going about funding the different projects and things of that nature? Mr. Birch?
Well, Sean, remember that we will have a board in place. We will have committees in place. The job of finding funding is not me and Ian's job. We are we are putting an organization in place. But that aside, there are several ways we could get funding. We can apply for grants. We can apply for a subvention from the government, an annual subvention. We, of course, will do fundraising activities because we have a large cadre of performers. So it would be a little bit easier for us to do fundraisers, right? And of course, let us say somebody in the organization has a contact in South Africa, right? And so there's an opening there for a performer to go. The network would be expected that at least they get a little pinch of the fee to go towards the network because we are working, right? We may be able to negotiate a large publishing deal in Germany for somebody. We expect that we would get a little 10% of that going towards the network. Me and Ian, we have already declared that we are volunteers in this thing, right? So we don't expect a network to pay us. What we expect is that we're putting the framework in place to make our businesses benefit like anybody else. Because I still have Cross Color Records. He still has his label and his radio and so on, right? But we are putting this knowledge in there. We're setting up the framework. We're setting up the board. We're setting up the committees for them to operate. But we have to sign on as members, just like everybody else, to get the benefits. So we are not giving ourselves any big title and this and that and taking advantage of the system. I think at our age, we passed that, right? We want to establish the thing, and then our companies, like everybody else, can go make use of it and benefit. And this goes to anybody, Sean, because you can decide, you know what, I'm going to set up a management agency based on this framework. So I can, anybody can set up any business, join a network and benefit. So we're not curtailing your benefits. So those are the ways that we will get funding.
Okay, so when it comes to membership, what does that entail?
Well, over the next week, we will send out, firstly, we will send out the forms as we look for people to sit on the board and the committees, right? On that form, we will have an area so that you can become part of the business directory. So, for example, your company or Talk of the Tongue Radio or whoever, they can sign on as members and then they put a little bio there about what the company is. That part of the information goes to the business directory, right? So it's a simple thing. We have not come up with any money for membership as yet because we want to get everything in place. But there would be a cost to the membership of the network. And that cost, of course, will go towards things like administration, rent, utilities, because we will definitely need an office, right? Previously, I used to use my office as the office of the network. I don't want that anymore. I want to be away from the business of the network. The network must stand on its own. It must have its own telephone number, its own admin officer. You understand? Be able to meet members one on one. I want to be out of that. I don't want my business to be entwined with the network's business. The network must be totally independent. So the membership is simply filling out the form, putting your bio data, putting all your contact information. We put you into a database. When the website and the face and the social media things are ready, we add you to those so that you can get the amount of mileage from the network.
And added to Birch stuff for membership. Now, I also want to reiterate here the fact that a lot of a lot of false information has been spread due to folks not really understanding the business. That's one. And two, some people just had their own little crafty way of controlling a situation. So um, some people were peddling that artists should not be involved in levels of management or getting involved in any structure or something. Artists should just consider um, just doing the music and leave the stuff for other people. Now, I want to add to that right now. Now, you might just be an artist with your limitations. So you could just be an artist alone because that's what you're capable of doing, just being an artist alone. However, there are artists that are skilled in so many other different areas. There are artists that are lawyers. There are artists that are finance oriented. There are artists that have administrative skill. They're running an organization, but they're just an artist. We had members of the government who was in previous government who were artists also, and they're running they're in parliament today, but a couple weeks after they're in Canada playing guitar and singing for an audience because they're also an artist. So I'm saying, do not put the artist in a box. If an artist has the gifting of being a leader or an executive or even the president of the network, because that's the gifting and the skill, and they could effectively carry the role as an artist and also as the president. Don't let us limit the people to the old belief that you could only be an artist alone and nothing else, and that's a fallacy. That's We no longer living like that anymore. You got to be able to do a whole bunch of multitasking, doing a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm said no disrespect to the people who just want to be an artist. If that's your choice, cool. But there are other people who would like to be much more than just what people box you want to put them in. So if you don't want to be in a box and you want to be part of the executive part of this body, then when you have the registration form to fill out, just put your gifting and your skill set. So when we sit there to deliberate, we can use you as one of our choice person to put to head a committee or to be vice president of a committee or to play some role in that committee that will best suit your skill set. So don't limit yourself and throw away the notion that you could only be an artist alone, because if Nicki Minaj was just an artist alone, she wouldn't be running her own business. If Rihanna was just an artist alone, she wouldn't have Fenty. If Beyonce was just an artist alone, she would be running $1 billion business, and so the likes of many others. So I just refute the whole statement that you just have to be an artist alone and don't be nothing else. So that's all I have to say.
And the other thing is the network promotes a sense of independence and growth in individuals, because an artist might be under the gun right now, but then when they realize that there's so many avenues for growth that exist within an organization, it is to their benefit. And I want to tell artists something. You employ your managers, your managers don't employ you. You are the boss. You
Mm.
can decide what you want to do with your life. And if you think that joining a network gives you an advantage, tell your manager, because you're his boss. If you don't work, he can't get paid. Right? I tell my artists that all the time. One thing I've developed in this business is a fearless attitude. Like, I pass on knowledge very freely, because people got this thing that when you pass on knowledge, people gonna come and excel. And that's what I want. Because the more I surround myself with intelligence, the easier my life is. Right?
That's
The
right.
more educated a network we have, the more progress you will make. Right? And so the whole thing is to pass on this knowledge, but within a framework for us to make progress. And here again, we are not in the business of controlling anybody. We're in the business of passing on the knowledge for you to excel.
What would you say? What would you say to an artist that saying to himself or herself, "I haven't made a cent from my music,
Mhm,
and I'm not going to pay a membership fee."
mhm.
Right? What do you have to say to them? What you think they'll be missing out on?
My thing, a lot of a lot of representation, and they don't even know what the fee is. Sometimes the fee is a very, very small fee. And in life, you have to pay for something, because if you don't pay, it means that we have to find the money. Remember, this whole board, all the committees are volunteers. We are volunteering in information. We are not charging for information. The board members are going to sit there to grow this organization for your benefit. You understand? And people must understand that things in life, you have to pay a price in some way. I'm going
Mhm.
to give an example. I I have my own publishing company, all right? But you know what I realize? If you do sub publishing deals with people around the world, your pie has reduced, but your opportunity to sell more slices of
Mhm.
your music increases.
And tour too.
And tours, right? And getting your music into games and in films, you know. So, for example, you have a sub publisher in Yugoslavia. That music publisher is pushing your music, and so he gets it into an ad. If you didn't have a sub-publishing deal there, the possibility of you having that opportunity reduces. So we have to give up something to get something.
And to add to that thing, I wouldn't miss out on this opportunity with the artists who don't want to pay a subscription. Let's put it this way. I have been. I'm not going to blow my own horn here, but for the last 20 something years of my life, nobody has been blowing my horn. So I'm blowing my own horn right now. Until I dead, I'm gonna be blowing my own horn. I don't want nobody say nothing about me. I can say all things about myself. Since I've been around in this music business, I have personally been helping people with my own finances.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So they pick up the phone and they call, and I would help. Some people I register with my own money. Some I go halfway. Some I help quarter way, 3/4 way. Doesn't matter, but I help. Now I'm going to tell you, as soon as this organization is off the on the road and start working, my phone is shut to anybody who wants to call me for free consultation. I will not give any more free consultation anymore. Your consultation will happen through the organization. So I will not be accessible to anybody to give information. I will not what would say, sabotage my own efforts by trying to do things on the side when you don't want to be part of a structured body. Because there is benefits when you are in a body. Like I said before, some artists have got problem right now with contracts. My phone ring all the time. Can I have a contract for this? Here? Can I have a contract for that? Now, I got to take my time out to the things that I have to do to create contracts for other people. I don't be paid. They don't pay me for that. I do it just for the love of this music, right? And I take my time out to do all of that. Now, this is things that you have standard contracts going to be available when you're part of this body, where you can pull down a simple contract for just a performance. If you're part of a movie, or your song and be part of a movie, you don't know how to deal with the situation, you have a resourceful set of people who can advise you on to how you can properly code your music so that you can have all the benefits in those arenas. So I would say this plainly, because this is a reality. If somebody feels that this organization won't benefit them, that's cool. Just
Yeah.
don't call my number. That's what I'm saying. Just don't call my number, because my number is being called 24/7. So don't call my number if you don't want to. If you don't want to support something that I would not take my time to support you, then you're not worthy of my support. Don't call me. I blow my own horn here. Them. So
And Sean, you know what's important? I've listened to a lot of the talk shows, and they keep saying that studios do not give young artists an opportunity. That is not true.
Mhm.
All the artists that work with my label have never spent a cent to record a song nor do a video. And I repeat, since I started in the year 2000, no artist that has worked with me, right, as part of my label, has spent a penny for a recording nor a video.
Mhm.
So I just want to dispel that. That's not true. And a lot of labels in Guyana accommodate people that way, right? So it is false to say that we don't give. My present project of the young producers between the ages of 13 and 17, they're all going to be outfitted with recording studios in their home, right? So work is being done, but I mean the work is not being shouted from the mountaintop, but work is being done, and a lot of work is being done. So, and I'm saying that to say this, that if you don't want to pay a fee to join the organization, we won't beat you on your head, right? It's just that you are not going to get the benefits, either from our local partners or our international partners. Our members will benefit, and our members will benefit from day one, especially when it comes to education, because I am big on education. I think education is one of the main pillars on which we can build this organization.
Would there be any benefit from the private sectors for members?
Well, I keep saying this, the private sector likes to see structure. The private sector knows that they want to know that you're doing business. And in network, it would be in the business of doing business. It is a money-making organization. In order for us to survive and eventually pay our staff and have a nice office and building and so on, we have to be in the business of doing business. And of course, we will form partnerships with the private sector.
Mhm.
Definitely so. As I outlined in my presentation on Sunday, we're going to join the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is an industry organization. We're going to join Tourism Association of Guyana, and we're going to form alliances with, like, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Tourism. We want to be an extension of those organizations because we're representing our country. We're representing our people in a more structured manner. And these organizations would prefer to speak to a organized body of people than individuals shouting all manner of things from different angles.
Mhm.
You speak with one voice, you speak as a unit, people will listen.
and then Rock, I
Mhm.
want you to understand, and the people to understand also, the Music Network of Guyana does not only operate, or does not only advertise for people with musical abilities. We want to see barbers involved in the.
Yeah.
We want to see every ancillary business that will benefit from the music industry. The people into fashion, the people into cosmetology, who do makeups, and we want to see all them part of the business directory and also part of the membership, because what we're going to be doing, when they have a music video to shoot, we look in the network first to see who is available in the network,
Mhm.
and we try to see how much job we could keep in the network and giving the people.
Yeah.
So we're encouraging barbers, tailors, every ancillary business that could
Photographers.
support the
Yeah.
music could be part of the network. You have a radio station, you could be part of this. A private radio station, the internet radio, you could be part of this. We're not leaving you out. It's not just for the people who into production or songwriters or publishers. Once it has what is related or a cousin, or your music cannot exist without it, you could be part of the music network of Guyana.
Will the organization be strict on quality control coming from studios, artists, etc.?
Well,
Uh,
I mentioned that earlier, stuff. I said we are going to set up different, when we hear from the radio stations, what are the requirements that they would like to have for us to implement, so that our music could be played on the radio without all the different red flags that now may come up. We will have a section in this whole organization that will deal with the quality. We're going to talk to the studios about the stuff, and and if we believe that the song is not of the par, we could network that studio with another studio to bring them to the level that we can have the music. Because one of the things that happen, and it's happening right now, you might have a studio that is good at doing drum programming, but they're weak at doing vocals, they're weak at harmonies. So the best thing in this song is the drum program. The drum program wild out to this world, but the vocals is shitty and every other thing is whacked. But the drums are on par. Then there's
Mhm.
another studio with the vocals and everything is clean like a whistle, but they're not good at drumming. The bass man is the best man over there. So we have this whole situation in happening in the Guyana environment, where everybody feels that for them to be this mega producer, they have to do everything. I stop at this moment and ask them to just go and pull up a Beyonce album or a Rihanna album and look at the credits of all the musicians that took part and where the songs mix, where the vocals mix. Some of them don't even mix in the same country. Some projects go all the way to London to be able to come back here. Because we live in a time of 5G where you don't have to travel physically to be in a location to do anything right now. So a project move from one studio, this part of the world, go to another part of the world to get a thing fixed, come back to stuff, and all is in the credits. But for someone in Guyana, if I name IQ or I name Cross Colors or I name whoever I name, it's just like, okay, everything have to be done here, right? And we don't necessarily have all the necessary prerequisite skills that give you a top international performance from out of the studio. Yeah, probably some studio that has all the prerequisite, but I've heard a lot of promotions, a lot of songs that requires much more work, right? So, and that's where training come in. This is what we're talking about. We're gonna having programs where we have exchange programs between students in Guyana with students abroad, so that we can bring our standards in Guyana to closer to that international level of acceptance. So
So, Birch?
so over the years, the thing of quality has been a very touchy subject, because a lot of people don't like you to touch their productions, right? Hence, I am propagating the formation of this music producers unit,
Mhm.
so we can sit and collectively we can decide on what policies we will adapt when it comes to quality. It means that I would encourage all the producers to get involved. Let's sit and talk. Let us see if by exchanging services we can improve the quality even before it's identified as as not good or what, because quality for some people can be a very subjective thing.
Mhm.
When it comes to quality, people lack objectivity. It's I produce it, so the quality good. You know, that type of thing, right? So some DJs may have a favorite artist and they're subjective. Whatever this artist produce, I will play. I don't care, right? So if we have a music producers association, we can sit and as a team we can decide how do we decide good quality, bad quality, what needs to be improved, how we do it, who will do it, and that type of thing. So I think the subject of quality is important because a lot of the radio stations are going to talk about quality. A lot of them. We have to be prepared for that, right? And DJs, even though quality has improved leaps and bounds,
Mhm.
especially over the last 5 years, right? So I think that's one of the ways that we will have to deal with it. We have to deal with it as a body. So everybody is in the pool, right? And we can make collective decisions.
Will you guys have a program in place where you guys can identify a producer or an artist and send them on special training or abroad to learn from the best, and of course the funds have to come from somewhere, and a part of the membership and grants will take care of that. Do you guys have anything in place like that?
Well, my thing from my experience is that there are always grants available that you can apply for.
Mhm.
There are institutions that even though it's not a grant, you can write for assistance, right? Even presently, we're working on something to identify 15 artists to train in social media marketing. And at the end of the course, they're each given, I think it's either 15 or 2,000 US dollars to market a project on social media. So it will be stuff like those, right? So once we identify, because once you have your board in place and your committees, you will decide on the approach, you know. I mean, we may have this approach now
Correct.
as two men formulating ideas. But when you have a body of people, they might say, Mr. Simon, I don't quite agree. I think we should do X before Y. And that's what I want.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying is not written in stone or concrete. It is there to debate and then come up with decisions that are collective that can serve people. Right now, we just talking. We have the ideas there. We have a 10-year plan to roll out. Yes, 10 years. We have a short, medium, and a long-term plan for the studio. So we can't stop working. One of these years, I'm going to present that entire plan. It's in an Excel document. It spells every single thing that we should do when it comes to exporting and promoting our music. These steps are just the first steps. So these ideas are not written in stone. Sometimes you have such a dynamic board that I have to take a back seat and let the
Backstage, yeah.
boys run with it, right?
Mm.
So I don't want to be a dictator. I don't want to be there like a shadow of. I don't want that. I do not want that. If I wanted that, I won't be having this conversation. I don't want that.
Mm.
I want to pass the knowledge on, pass the plan, and see it fall into place so that all of us can benefit in the long run.
um Mr. Malcolm in the comment section stated a few times in the comment section so far about artists taking up that position to say, you know what, I have to get things done, regardless of the organization being in place. I still have to take up that responsibility to really put tire to the road and get going. Do you guys have any system in place? I don't want to say to motivate or to encourage or anything of the sort, but something that is going to have them understand that, hey, you got to get going. You got to get,
Mhm.
not because we go into the radio station, you guys just going to sit back
Very good.
and just say, well, they got it.
Very
What
good.
system you guys,
Um,
how are you guys going to approach that?
Sean.
But let me interject before you, because I know this right up your alley. But I just want to put something in before you. One
Yeah.
of the reasons we have been speaking over the last 10 years, and this is before this is why is the organization formatting and all that kind of stuff. We have been encouraging artists to see themselves as a brand. We ask them to go to the deeds registry and to register themselves under whatever name. If I name Dem Rock, then I operate and I singing as Dem Rock. I'm a sole trader. I'm Ian Johnson. I operating as Dem Rock. I go register myself as a deed at the deeds registry. Have a registration for your business, right? Treat yourself as a business, as a brand.
Mhm.
So if you treat yourself as a business and a brand, then you have more, because you right away become the CEO for your company. You are now a boss. So it's not as just an artist. I'm an artist. Demrock Ian Johnson is my name. I'm operating as a sole trader. I have my business registration. You know, I now go and I open up a bank account in Dem Rock. So now when I go to do this is a business with Burchmore Simon, he can now write a check to Dem Rock, right? And not Ian Johnson. So my business is now earning the respect. So when I even go to talk to the people for sponsorship and stuff, they're not dealing with Ian Johnson. They are dealing with my business, which is my brand. So we try to make people understand that they are a brand. A lot of people have responded to that. They have themselves registered, and who've been working over the years. I keep telling them at the end of the year, you got to make sure you pay taxes on your earnings, so that the government will understand that this is a viable organization. This is a viable entity. I've earned 300,000 for this year, and I paid my fair share of taxes back into the government. You know, if you see yourself as a brand, and you see yourself as a boss, because I basically the breakdown is as people see themselves as inferior as an artist, because you're okay, I ain't get no value, no weight. But if you put yourself as a brand, and then when you have your brand is Dem Rock now, then I can't do this by myself. You know what? I don't have the organizing skill to manage this thing how I want to manage it. So I go out and I outsource, look for somebody who I think have management skill, and I bring them into my brand. Now, I'm not going into their brand. I'm bringing them into my business, which is Dem Rock, right? So now you have a manager, you have a PR person who you don't work for them, they work for your brand that you just register under the umbrella of Demrock. I don't know if I'm clear with my
Mhm.
explanation. And so now you bring importance to yourself, and you might not have all the prerequisites to manage this thing because you don't have the skill, but you can hire the skill with whatever deal you're gonna make with your manager, whatever deal you're gonna make with the PR person. Even if you don't have the financial skill to look after your bank accounting and stuff. You bring in a financial person, you make a deal with them also, but you become the boss for your brand. You dictate exactly the direction you want to go in, how you want to see yourself 5 years from now. You sit here, you deliberate, then you come up with plans to execute so you could be a better person or a better brand or a better artist, whatever it is that you see yourself. So to me, the whole structure lies in people registering themselves as a brand and project themselves as the CEO, the important part of your business, so that you will work with a confidence and not be defeated. You're walking on that, hey, I get something great and this is going to be great. I have the right team working with me to make this great.
Mr. Birch.
Yeah, Brother Malcolm, that's an excellent observation. Really great question. And so it brings me back to the point of the purpose of the organization. It is a business support organization that can facilitate and represent its members. It therefore means that if we are setting up the network with the radio stations, our members have to make use of that network.
That's right.
Not us getting your music to the DJs and the radio stations. You are making use of the support that we are giving to you, right? So, and as Ian said, you are a business entity onto yourself. Therefore, you make use of the opportunities that are being presented, right? So nobody's going to spoon feed you. And the network now makes more room for business managers. I'm sure in the comments there are people who have the experience in the industry, right? To become business managers and be able to guide artists. And those business managers now will make even more use of the network to add value to their artists. So even though we are putting the framework in place, you have to make use of
Hmm.
the framework.
That's it.
We are improving the things so that you can benefit. You can add value to yourself and what you do, and just go with it, right? So the network makes more room for producers, more artists, more managers, more studios, more of everything. Because now there is this framework or this road map to success that everybody can make use of. Very good question. Very good observation.
Mr. Johnson, in closing, what do you have to add?
Look, I've said this many times to a lot of people. We have had so many people that come online. We have had so many forums of people talking the same bullshit
Give me
all the
one
time.
second.
You know, we've had that. We've had people coming up with the same thing. I have been through so many meetings saying the same thing, and you would want to ask me the next question after, what is different now? Because I think the question was asked in the beginning. What's different now is that we have been through the whole process of legitimizing the music network of Guyana. It is now incorporated. It's now a legal body in Guyana. It has the ability, since we have all the things in place, to access grants, to approach the government, to approach private sectors, to be part of a very potent body that can go and meet people and ask for I would say favors, but how we can network what we have with what they have under a legal body. This is not we come in talking and say, okay, we're gonna go now and try to see if we could get this organization legitimized. We're gonna see if we could incorporate it. It's already all that's happened. All we have right now is a legal shell that requires people to make it function. As I said before on Sunday, music, like many other stuff, is amongst the that organization that cannot run by its solo act by in itself. Music was intended for networking purposes. So here is where we want to network with all those little brands. I mean, your brand, you brand yourself, regardless of what you name. Here is a network that can accommodate you, give you the necessary fuel, organize you in such a way, create a platform that you could be trained. Those of you, one of the things that can happen is that some of you folks who may have pick my brain and become a little better at the game right now. Now, everybody will have access to the information, not only from me, but from other people who are better than me, who knows more than me. I still learning right now, even though I think I know a little bit. I still learning. But we'll have access to bigger players who we can bring in to do different trainings and them kind of stuff and make this whole thing better for everybody. I'm saying we've gone down this road. You have questioned so many times before. And one of the things I want to say before we close is that none of us in Jesus. I've done a lot of shit in my life that I'm not proud of. And I guess Butch could say the same thing. And you watching me could say the same thing about yourself too. We in Jesus, we all made mistake, we fall short. But once we have life, there's that important ingredient. So you wake up in the morning and you're just privileged to have a set of oxygen with your name on it because you're that special to God that He gave you a special supply of oxygen with your name on it every single day for as long as you're gonna live. And with life, you can correct all your mistakes before, and you have an opportunity to meet the same people that you probably might hurt along the path and reconcile, find a way to work together. So let's throw away this whole notion, but I don't like he and me. He fall out last year. No, he thief jewelry money and this year and all them kind of stuff. We have to go to a place where we have to learn to forgive people and move forward because we're going to continue repeating the same cycle and all of us are going to die. And with the kind of message that we left to the people behind us, they're going to continue the same cycle. We need to stop the cycle right now, or we need to just organize ourselves so that we can start something that even when I'm not here, I'm Borch not here. Our kids. My son is very active in this business. That my grandkids might want to be part of this too. Your kids might want to be part of this too. So we want to start something that we can leave, that other people can come and use as a model, and let's just continue. Great. We have 5 years projection of how to run this music industry. It didn't come overnight. It has been a toiling for over 20 years. So we have documents on the how to do, what to do, and the people to contact, even if you don't know what to do. So, Denmark, I believe that now is the time for everybody to throw away the prejudices. Time for you to ask for forgiveness. We're gonna get there of atonement. You come and you do what you gotta do, and you ask for forgiveness and you move on. I've said so many ill things to people, and if I'm gonna be the first to start right now, say if whoever I ever said something that's inappropriate, I ask for your apologize. I apologize right now, and I ask for your forgiveness. That's one thing. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Mr. Birch.
Oh, so in closing, I think this is an yeah, it's a really good opportunity for us to really work on this. I think we've lost a whole decade from the first effort to now. I think there are a number of differences now. It's a registered entity, right? It's a registered business organization. It will have a board in place and the committees in place. Therein lies the difference. Um, I have revisited my position in that I am the founder of the organization and I am just there, me along with Ian. We're just there to pass on the information, put the framework in place, and let our young people run with this vision. Just run with it. We're not there to control, it's no dictatorship. As I said, I want all the decisions, the final decisions, to be those of the board and the committees in the interest of development and progress. We have to continue to build partnerships. We have to continue to reach out to people both locally, regionally, and internationally. There are people that who I am dealing with as Cross Color Records. Those contacts are available to the network once we start going. Same benefits my company has been getting as an individual company. I want to pass those on so that a wider cross section of people can benefit. I think it's a good look. From my observation, the rhetoric has changed from bashing to compromise, and I think this is the best time for us to move forward and get this thing done.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you being here and sharing everything that you guys have in store for the music organization. I believe Ian got disconnected for whatever reason. But my encouragement to every artist, everyone that's in the music culture, is to understand that after one time comes another.
Mhm.
We can't keep dwelling on what happened in the past.
Yeah.
The time is now, and I strongly believe in everything that was said tonight here. um I was even more convinced on Sunday with what was shared, and moreover of what was said here tonight. I will continue to do my part, and I encourage everyone to add value to what they know
Yeah.
to the culture.
Yeah.
right? But one of the things that I do not want to see and hear is someone coming on live and saying, you guys are not doing this, you guys are not doing that, you guys focusing on the wrong things. These are the things that you guys should be focusing on, and listing all the things that we should be focusing on. But at the end of that, they don't give their time into
Mm-hmm.
making sure that those
Yeah.
things are executed,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Basically, we cannot function in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, then give your time to do better for the culture. All right. So thank you, fellas, once again. I know you got disconnected briefly, Mr. Johnson. But appreciate everyone that was tuned in tonight and in the comment section, and will be, and for the ones that will be watching at a later time. I hope that this live and this video will get to as much people as possible, so they can understand you guys' heart in the development of the Guyana music culture. And you guys have contributed so much. And I personally want to thank you guys. And I will not take you guys for granted. Right.
Thank
And
you.
because of what you guys have been doing is encouraging me even more
Mm-hmm.
to do a lot more and more strategically. Right. And I will continue to be of support to both of you and anyone else that is genuinely, note I said, genuinely pushing for the betterment of our music culture. All right. Thank you guys so much, and have a good night.
Thank you very much. You same to you.
Same thing with it's them wrong.
Yeah.
And as always, we like to close with a video, and this one is by Blackamore.
Now we have to reach number one in cha-cha. Now we have to reach number one now we have to reach number one in cha-cha. Now we have to reach number one.
Man possess something way bigger than the money, house, the gold and the cars. Bigger than the songs we write, the lyrics and the bars. Looking at me face, you now go see no back of scar. Now is not the time to step about, you want a war. Link your soldier, them a Jupiter, you shot at them a Mars. Me stand up for myself, me no need entourage. Authenticity, me no wear no facade. Step up to the plate, fully charge. From you know you win and you element. And you are your own president. In your yard and you are stand guard. And you are raise the standard. From you are put in the work and you still a stand strong.
Now we have to reach number one.
You rise up from the gravel and I make a million.
Now we have to reach number one.
Now you're sailing like a big ship on the ocean.
Now we have to reach number one.
Because you never lose faith, you still a hold on. Cause now it have to reach number one. You let me now watch no face, me there I maintain. Make my move, left my mark, do the work, set the pace. Stay in a me lane, me no run a rat race. Me still a give Jaja all the praises. Count my blessings, give thanks for the crisis. Never give up, I give myself the ratings. Keep my eyes on the prize, me no doubt or relent. Cause me know the money they have for the taking. From you know you win and you elevate. And you are your own president. In your yard and you are stand guard. And you are raise the standard. From you are put in the work and you still a stand strong.
Now we have to reach number one.
You rise up from the gravel and I make a million.
Now we have to reach number one.
Now you're sailing like a big ship on the ocean.
Now we have to reach number one.
Because you never lose faith, you still a hold on. So now it have to reach number one. From you know you're in your element. And you are your own president. In your yard and you are stand guard. And you are raise the standard. From you are put in the work and you still a stand strong. Strong, strong. You rise up from the gravel and I make a million. Now you're sailing like a big ship on the ocean. Because you never lose faith, you still a hold on. From you are put in the work and you still a stand strong.
Now we have to reach number one.
You rise up from the gravel and I make a million.
Now we have to reach number one.
Now you're sailing like a big ship on the ocean.
Now we have to reach number one.
Because you never lose faith, you still a hold on. So now we have to reach number one.
Before I go, just want to say I believe 1000% in our artists and moreover in our music culture. That being said, good night, much love, bless up, peace.